Hello. Well, you interested in becoming a tyrant? There is a certain set of rules that is common for any tyrant that has been successful throughout the history. Today, together with semi-documentary series from Netflix, we're gonna learn how to become a tyrant. Netflix series is trying to find what are the commonalities among all the tyrants and what are the different tactics and techniques and strategies you can apply in order to become one. At least, the name of whole series pretty much saying that we sort of can use it as a manual to become a tyrant or despot or whatever you feel like calling yourself, because hey, you are gonna be this narcissistic maniac who can call themselves whatever they want. Maybe the god, maybe pharaoh, whatever it is gonna be. Anyhow, there are 6 episodes in the series, and each episode pretty much titled in order to teach you about how you can seize the power and be a prominent tyrant of your nation. So they're really starting the series with the first episode that's telling us the story of Adolf Hitler. And they sort of self-reference in a lot of tyrants and the techniques that they've been using. And basically, every single step that comes with each of the episodes pretty much shows us what can be done. And the first one, called Seize the Power, pretty much telling us how Adolf Hitler came to power back in the days. And it actually gives quite some interesting facts. Or beliefs that are also busting the myths or my own imagination of these historical personas, which also was probably partially created by the propaganda that they've been, of course, heavily using, or counter-propaganda that's have been used in all the other countries. So this series is trying to still, of course, distilling more of the facts rather than bringing up some opinions or the propagandas and agendas themselves. But technically you could argue, if you're a big proponent of the tyrants, that, well, maybe they are not tyrants at all, or they have done more good than that. That's exactly how I felt in the episode in the Stalin. Not personally that was my opinion of the Stalin, but just knowing that how many people still perceive him to have a positive influence on the USSR and all the former USSR countries, and it's still hard to believe that so many people still see more good in him, while there has been a lot of questionable, to say the least, activities and deeds from his side. So yeah, that's what the series is talking about: how you can go to the power, how you using different techniques of choosing a scapegoat, choosing an enemy that will help you to bond people around you, or how you can successfully write your own history, make sure that your own truth is the only truth that is left and nobody else is allowed to do. And most of these techniques are usually coming with a lot of brutality and anger. This is how usually tyrants come to power, right? Most of these examples are coming from the countries where there has been a lot of depression. Terrible times were happening in those specific countries where the tyrants came to power. So fear and hardships are usually things that tyrants used as their advantage in many of the cases. Pretty much in the whole episode of Idi Amin is also telling how his idea of the war being the safe space, that he pretty much can just do whatever he wants, kill whomever he wants, however he wants, and those who would be opposing his brutality are the ones who are actual enemies of the nation. And sort of was funny to see that his end was with him declaring a war on Tanzania, whereas his own army wasn't really capable of doing anything in a warfare, in a real combat. Last but not the least, it was a really interesting episode about the North Korean leaders, Kim Il-sung and his son Kim Jong-un, I believe. It's really hard for me to get all these Korean names, I'm so sorry. The grandfather and father of the incumbent president of North Korea, or leader, I'm not sure if he is a president, he's probably a leader, yeah. Crazy to see how this whole huge myth of initial Kim Il-sung pretty much created the whole country. Like, right, Korea before was sort of a one nation, and there is barely any difference between North Korean and South Korean back in the days, and they used to be some kind of colony of Japan. I may not be super accurate in what I believe to be true. I have really brief understanding of the Asian and Korean history, so I believe that's what it was. And then they were split in two countries, and the North Korea, which was under Kim Il-sung, became this sort of chosen land where their leader, chosen by the gods, was almost godlike himself, and they created the whole mythology surrounding him and his family, and how the double rainbow appeared when the son of Kim Il-sung was born, and just the way they've been working with the cinematography, which is of course common for all the other tyrannies as well, where they were using these art pieces as propaganda, of course. And I mean, it's not only common for tyrannies, just a note here, you know. The story of North Korea kidnapping one of the biggest film stars of South Korea, as well as one of the biggest directors, is just crazy. That they kidnapped him and made them create better films for North Koreans. And of course, like I have said, despite this series choosing these techniques to describe what a tyrant would usually do in order to stay in power and come to power, a lot of techniques are just shared among other politicians. You know, like choosing an enemy or a scapegoat is a super common technique, and it's been used not only in tyrannies, like even now in democratic states, depending on the political landscape of the specific country, people usually choose with whom they're siding with, and who's their electoral will pretty much be glad to hear that we are friends with or against. But overall, I was quite curious in the topic, and I am personally super interested in it, and I am looking forward to the season number 2. I hope that we'll see more episodes from other tyrants, for example, like Augusto Pinochet, or maybe Papa Doc. Like, there has been quite a bunch of tyrants in Africa and Latin America, and I mean, those are who already are not really in power anymore. Those are the ones that were filmed, and I wonder if there are gonna be any who are currently in power, and whether the directors and producers of the series would decide to call somebody a tyrant out of the incumbent presidents. That's also would be quite a bold move if they would actually do this, but probably that's not gonna happen. Anyhow, I hope you enjoy this as much as I did enjoy the series. I really recommend you all just go watch it if you're interested in this particular topic. I understand that not for everyone that's gonna be a pleasant topic to discover or watch, but if you are interested in politics or history, that is quite an interesting series to spend your evening, because the episodes are not that long. I think they're every There were 6 episodes for half an hour each, so it's not that much time. Again, thank you all for listening, and bye.